Hello and welcome to your Employee Benefit Enrollment Meeting for the 2021 to 2022 plan year. I'm a representative for Morton & Company, which is the broker for your employee benefits package that we'll be reviewing today. Today we're going to be talking about all the different benefits that Logan City School District is offering their full-time employees. If you want to follow along, you can refer to your employee benefits guide that has summaries of all the different plans that are available to you. All right, so inside this guide, we've listed all of your carrier's information, including the lines of coverage they offer, their customer service phone numbers, and their web addresses. The best way to get the most out of these benefits is going to be by using services from a participating provider. If you need to figure out who a participating provider is, you can do so by going online, calling customer service, or even calling that provider's office directly. Now, if you call their office, make sure you ask if they're a contracted provider in order to avoid any balance billing. That means that if the provider or that facility are contracted to participate within that network, they won't be able to charge you for the difference between the billed and the allowed amounts. The contact information you're going to need to get a hold of your account manager is listed under Morton & Company in that gray box there at the top of the first page in your guide. If you have a claims issue, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We are your advocate here, and we're going to be the liaison between you and your carriers. You're considered eligible for the benefits we're talking about today if you're a full-time employee, you're working at least 30 hours a week, and you've met your waiting period. Your benefits actually start on the first of the month after your full-time date of hire. So, for example, if you were hired as a full-time employee on July 3rd, your benefits wouldn't start until August 1st. And the same would actually be true if you were hired on July 31st. Coverage is extended to your legal spouse and your dependent children, and then that coverage for your children is only offered through the end of the month of their 26th birthday. Once you make your elections for this upcoming year, you're actually going to get locked into those decisions until the next open enrollment period begins. The only way you can make a change to your plan at any other point throughout the year would be if you have what's called a qualifying life event or a change in family status. Some of the most common qualifying events that you might experience could include marriage, divorce, having a baby, adopting a child, or if your spouse gains or loses employment that affects your coverage. There's a detailed list about these events included in the right-hand column of page 2 of your guide. Now, should you have a qualifying change in family status, you have 30 days from that event date where you have to notify the Benefits and Payroll Department and report that same change in your online benefit system, Infinity HR. There's instructions on how to do all of that on the very last page of your guide. Now keep in mind that if that window closes and you haven't made any changes, you're going to continue to be locked into those existing decisions until the next open enrollment period begins. So just make sure you keep a really good eye on all of those deadlines. Logan City School District is offering you a medical plan through Motive Health. Now there are 2 plans offered, both of which are high deductible health plans. That just means that you're going to need to satisfy the applicable deductible before your plan's going to pay out any benefits. However, you'll also have the opportunity to contribute some pre-tax dollars into your own personal health savings account. You can use the funds from that account to help you cover some or maybe even all of your pre-deductible costs, which is something I can walk you through a little bit later. These plans have both in-network and out-of-network coverage. However, I highly recommend that you try to get services through an in-network provider whenever you can. You're going to find that doing that is actually going to save both you and the plan money, and who doesn't want to save some money, right? The district is providing that second plan listed here, the HSA 4000, for you and your family at no cost to you. It features a $4,000 individual deductible and an $8,000 family deductible. And then after you've met that deductible, the plan will pay out 80% of covered expenses up to your out-of-pocket max of either $6,000 if you're enrolled as an employee only, or $12,000 if you're enrolled with dependents. You also have the option to buy up to the HSA 2000 plan, which is the one that's listed in those first couple of columns there. And that would just mean that you're going to pay a portion of the premium in exchange for this lower deductible. Those premium amounts, by the way, are listed at the bottom of the table on page 3 in your guide if you want to give those a look. The HSA 2000 option features a $2,000 individual deductible and a $4,000 family deductible. This plan also is going to pay out 80% of your covered expenses up to that individual employee out-of-pocket max of $6,000. However, that maximum for you and your dependents together is lessened to $6,850 rather than that $12,000 limit you see on that base plan. And just as a quick reminder, all of the amounts that we just reviewed are only applicable to care you receive from in-network providers. If you choose to see an out-of-network provider, your deductibles, your coinsurance, and your out-of-pocket maximums are all going to increase significantly. So just remember, in-network is going to just be your best option. With either of these plans, preventive services like annual exams, mammograms, well-child checkups, immunizations, and even colonoscopy screenings are all covered at 100% as long as that primary code billed is a preventive code. If you're experiencing any symptoms when you go in, that code will probably change to a diagnostic code, and then your deductible, out-of-pocket max, and coinsurance amounts are all going to end up coming into play. Anything outside of preventive care, like office visits, x-rays, labs, hospital services, emergency care, and mental health services, are all subject to your plan's deductible amount. After you've fulfilled that deductible, your coinsurance is going to kick in, which means you'll still be responsible for paying 20% of the cost of those covered services until you hit your out-of-pocket maximum. Once you've hit that maximum, though, most claims are going to get covered 100%. If you want more details on the specific limitations of what's not covered, you can find that information in your carrier's manual. This same process also applies to your out-of-network coverage, but as you can see, your deductibles and out-of-pocket maximums are doubled, and then your coinsurance increases, so you're responsible for paying 40% of your covered services. So again, it's definitely in your best interest and obviously less expensive to stay in network. Your plan also covers prescription drugs, both through local pharmacies and through mail order. All of these prescriptions are subject to your deductible, coinsurance, and out-of-pocket maximums, just like all of your non-preventive services. I'd also like to recommend that you try to use a generic prescription drug if it's available in order to help keep your out-of-pocket costs down. Your telehealth services are provided by HealthiestYou. Now, this isn't meant to replace your primary care physician at all. It's just a faster and more affordable way to get some care for easily diagnosed problems or common conditions. The best part about this plan is that it actually won't cost you anything to call in, and there's no limits on how many calls you can make or even when you make one, because they're available 24/7 via phone, video, and email. We're going to watch a little video provided by HealthiestYou that's just going to talk about some of these benefits in a little more detail.
Life is always on the go. We believe your healthcare should be too. You don't have time to wait at the doctor's office. Find a pharmacy nearby. Wait for a prescription. With HealthiestYou, you get your time back. From our app, you can talk to a doctor 24/7 by phone or video and pick up the lowest cost prescription at a pharmacy near you. Finally, you have control of your health, so you can get back to what you were doing. For healthcare on the go, we're your go-to.
Pretty cool, right? HealthiestYou also has a really convenient mobile app that's available for both iOS and Android devices so that you can have easy access to their services and their FAQ section if you need a quick answer to a common question. Any additional information you might need about this great telehealth benefit is included on page 4 of your guide. Your medical carrier, Mode of Health, also offers several health plan services to their members. You can find the details of how to take advantage of these programs explained on page 5 of your guide. The Smart Pay program is designed to reward members when they elect to have certain planned medical procedures or high-cost diagnostic studies performed by a high-value provider, and then they work with Motive Health to pay in advance. Smart Pay incentives vary between $100 to $5,000, so be sure to check with the Motive Health team to see if you qualify prior to having your planned procedure. Motive Health also offers a STEPS incentive program where you and your covered spouse can earn $1 a day for each day that you walk 8,000 or more steps for up to 20 days a month. The funds that you earn from that are deposited directly into your personal health savings account. Since the medical plans that you're being offered are both qualified high-deductible health plans, you may qualify to make contributions into your own health savings account, which is also known as an HSA. The HSA is an awesome way to save tax-free dollars for eligible medical expenses that aren't already covered by your plan, like your deductibles and your coinsurance. The maximum annual amount that you can contribute for 2021 is $3,600 if you're getting individual coverage, or $7,200 if you've included anyone else on your plan with you. If you're 55 or older, you're also eligible to make what's called a catch-up contribution, which allows you to add an additional $1,000 to those limits. This year, the district will continue to use Motive HSA as their administrator for these HSA contributions. If you were previously enrolled on the medical plan through Motive Health, you should already have a new HSA bank account set up for you. If you're enrolling for the first time, your account will be set up once Motive Health receives your enrollment. For those of you that currently have an HSA through any other financial institution or custodian, you have the option to roll over these funds to Motive HSA by filling out their Motive Health HSA transfer form. You can find that form on your employee homepage for enrollment on Infinity HR or on the Logan City School District website by navigating to the department's drop-down menu and clicking Business Office, then selecting Insurance and Benefits from the left-hand menu down the page. The cost to roll over any funds below $500 is a one-time fee of $25. Logan School District also has several options available to you for reimbursement accounts. For those of you that have chosen not to enroll in the district's medical plan and you're not otherwise enrolled in any other qualifying high-deductible health plan, you might want to consider participating in a flexible spending account, which is also known as an FSA. This account is similar to an HSA in the sense that it's also going to allow you to contribute pre-tax dollars for eligible medical expenses, just with some different limitations and rules with it. Your annual contribution limit for an FSA is $2,750, but unlike an HSA, you actually don't withdraw these funds directly in order to pay your claim. Instead, when you have a qualifying expense, you'll pay your bill first, then submit a claim, and then after that, you'll be reimbursed by the funds that you've accumulated in that flex account. There's also the option to use a limited purpose FSA. It allows those that are enrolled in one of the district's HSA plans to also set aside that $2,750 per year, but only in order to cover certain dental and vision expenses that aren't already covered by the plan. You can also use it for out-of-pocket medical expenses after you've reached your deductible. And the last of these options is what's called a Dependent Care Assistance Plan, or DCAP. This allows you to contribute up to $5,000 pre-tax dollars to pay for eligible dependent care expenses like daycare so that you can work. You can find additional details on these reimbursement account benefits on page 8 of the guide. The school district is also offering you a dental plan through Town and Country, which is now administered by Samira Health. As you can see on page 9 of your guide, this plan has both in and out-of-network benefits, but again, if you want to get the best benefit possible here, you're going to want to try to use an in-network participating dentist. You can look up a list of dentists that participate with this plan online at www.samirahealth.com. Your preventive and diagnostic benefits like exams, cleanings, fluoride for children, and x-rays are all covered at 100% in network. If you choose to get these services out of network, they'll only be covered at 70% of the network fee schedule. Your basic benefits like fillings, root canals, extractions, and periodontics are all covered at 80% in network after you've reached a deductible of $75 per person or $225 per family. Out of network, these services are only covered at 70% of the network fee schedule after you've met that same deductible. Now, you only need to satisfy that deductible one time in a plan year, and then your co-insurance percentages kick in and you get to split the cost of those contracted services with Town and Country. Major services like crowns, bridges, and oral surgery are all covered at 50% in network after you've satisfied that same deductible. For these same services out of network, you'll only receive 40% coverage of the network fee schedule after your deductible. And then the most that this plan will pay out per plan year is $1,000. Your dental plan does not provide orthodontic benefits. However, there are some providers that have agreed to a lower negotiated rate for all district employees. To find out which providers have made this arrangement with the district, you can call Samira Health, whose contact information is there on the first page of your guide. The vision plans that you're being offered are also through Town and Country, which is again administered by Samira Health. There's 2 different plans to choose from, both of which are considered reimbursement plans, which means that you'll pay for your services up front and then submit a claim to your carrier for reimbursement. The good news with these plans is that there's no provider network, so you can see any optometrist or ophthalmologist of your choice. The main difference between these plans is that the Silver Vision E150 will reimburse you for your eye exam, whereas the Silver Vision 150 won't. On that E150 plan, you're entitled to 1 eye exam per plan year, after which you'll be reimbursed for up to $50 per person that's enrolled under this benefit. Aside from eye exam coverage, these plans are basically identical. They allow you to purchase either glasses or contacts, but not both together, once per plan year, with your lens benefit only being available once a year also. If you choose to purchase glasses, you can be reimbursed for up to $150 of the retail price. Anything above that limit would be your responsibility. Your single, bifocal, and trifocal lenses can be reimbursed for up to $75 for the lens itself, plus another $100 for any lens option add-ons like tinting, UV coating, and standard scratch resistance, anti-reflective, and polycarbonate additions. If you'd rather buy contacts, you can do so instead of glasses for a reimbursement of up to $150. Keep in mind with contact purchases that you can only submit 1 reimbursement per plan year. So if you can't purchase enough contacts at one time to meet that $150 allowance, make sure to save your receipts until they at least total this maximum benefit and then submit them for reimbursement. Neither of these plans offer any benefits for LASIK or PRK surgery. However, there are some providers that are willing to offer a discount on these procedures. Keep in mind that your HSA or FSA dollars can be used toward paying for these procedures also, so you do have some options to explore if this is something that you or your family are in need of. These basic life and AD&D benefits offered through New York Life, which was formerly Cigna, are employer-paid benefits, which means that you don't pay any premium. It covers you for $50,000 for life, and then for another $50,000 for AD&D, which stands for accidental death and dismemberment. It'll also cover your spouse and any children under the age of 26 for $5,000 for life and an additional $5,000 for AD&D. Now you're going to want to make sure that you've enrolled any eligible dependents in your online benefit system so that they're listed for coverage. All of these details are outlined for you on page 11 of your guide in that table at the top of the page. Your voluntary life benefits are listed on page 11 as well, just below that basic life and AD&D section. These benefits are available for you, your spouse, and your dependent children. Now it's a benefit that's voluntary, which means that if you want to enroll in it, you're going to pay the entire premium. You can elect coverage for yourself in $10,000 increments for up to a maximum of $500,000. For your spouse, you can elect coverage in increments of $5,000 up to a maximum of either 50% of the employee benefit limit or $200,000, whichever of those is less. Coverage for your dependents varies based on their age. So for your newborn babies from birth to 14 days old, can be covered up to $500. Babies that are 15 days old up to 6 months can double that coverage to $1,000. And then children between the ages of 6 months and 26 years old are eligible for any amount of coverage between $2,500 and $10,000. If you're considered a new hire, you have a guaranteed issue amount of $250,000 for you, $50,000 for your spouse, and $10,000 for any dependent children. Any requests for coverage outside the new hire enrollment window or limits above those guaranteed issue amounts will need to submit evidence of insurability to New York Life in order to get approved for coverage. Your long-term disability coverage details are shown on page 12 of your guide. This is the kind of insurance that replaces a percentage of your income on a monthly basis in the very unfortunate event that you're unable to work due to some kind of accident or illness. This benefit is actually 100% employer paid, which means that the school district is paying for this coverage for you to protect you and your income if you get really sick or become disabled. Full-time employees can receive 60% of their weekly salary up to a maximum of $10,000 per month under these conditions. You'd have to be disabled for 120 consecutive days for this benefit to take effect. And then there's also a 3-month waiting period to cover any pre-existing conditions that you might have before you enter the plan. However, that pre-existing condition limitation is no longer applicable after you've been enrolled in this benefit for at least 12 months. And last but definitely not least are your LAP offerings through Cigna. LAP stands for Life Assistance Program, which is a great, confidential, short-term counseling resource that's available to all Logan City School District employees and anyone in their household. These services are completely covered by your employer, but don't worry, your personal information is never going to be shared with anyone without your direct knowledge and approval. Some of the topics that they're able and ready to discuss are listed in that blue sidebar on the right side of page 13, along with their phone number, which can be used 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You're entitled to 3 face-to-face visits and unlimited phone calls at no cost to you. So please be sure to take advantage of this great benefit if you need it. All right, so we've covered all of these different benefits that you can choose from, but how do you actually get enrolled for them? Through your online enrollment system, Infinity HR. This program is provided by the district to help you make your benefit elections every year during open enrollment and throughout the year to report any qualifying life events. If you already have an account, you're going to use your same username and password to log in, review your elections, and then make any of the changes that you want. By the way, if you've forgotten your login credentials, there's both forgot your username and forgot your password links in the lower right-hand part of the screen. If you're a new employee or you're enrolling for the first time, you're going to get 2 emails. One's going to provide you with your username and the instructions on how to set your password. And then the second is going to outline all of your enrollment window dates with a link to the Infinity HR site. These steps are shown on page 14 of your guide. And if you have any trouble, you can always call the Payroll and Benefits Department at the Logan City School District office for assistance. If you have any questions or you need any more clarification about your benefits, please make sure to reach out and talk to your amazing Morton & Company account manager, Stacy Rinless-Baker. She's a great and knowledgeable resource, and she is more than happy to help with any of your benefit questions. Her information is shown here, but it's also listed along with your other carrier contacts on the first page of your guide. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me and learning about all the awesome benefits that Logan City School District is offering their employees. I hope you have an incredible rest of your day. Happy enrolling!